each have one. It's part of a seed bank project that the United Nations set up.
Oh.
But there are also other private seed banks, like in Switzerland and in Norway also.
Well, it does seem that companies like Monsanto have been actively working to take over the seed banks, the seeds, with genetically modified destructor seeds. So I think at some point maybe all of that washing will wash them away.
Well, I was working at one point with the the plant genetics program in the UN, and in fact, I was instrumental in helping India set up their plant genetics seed bank. And I can tell you, they were receiving a lot of pressure from Monsanto and these other seed companies to conform. And happily, those scientists were so against what Monsanto was doing. And I hope they managed to hold their own against the pressure that they were getting.
Definitely.
And that's all we need, one generation of seeds in these banks, and that'll finish us off forever.
That's right. Now, both you and I know that the technology that exists under wraps, but from the corporations and held by the various underground laboratories, is hundreds, if not thousands, of years beyond our present technology, and we've been kept artificially on oil and electricity because of the financial profits. Are we going to see that whole paradigm crumble and finally allow us to bring forth technologies that scientists have been killed for?
Absolutely. In fact, those technologies are emerging already. I was shown
Are you there?
What they had done was to improve some of the principles of Tesla in capturing electromagnetic currents that are everywhere on Earth. And this amazing thing, you could just, no moving parts in it. You just turn off your electricity in the house, cut the line, just turn off the main switch, plug this box in, and you have electricity for the rest of your life.
Wow.
And it exists.
Well,
I actually saw it. And they are also, this June, they should, in fact, it's just now, they should be coming up with an electric car where you plug this box, where you plug an electric engine into this box, which is in the trunk, and the car can just drive forever.
Wow. Now, the dark forces...
So it's coming out. These things are already showing up.
How is it that they haven't managed to suppress them as they have for decades?
Well, they're hiding, of course, and I think probably one of the ways that they're going to be able to disseminate this thing is just to put the plans on the internet.
Right.
And just send it out en masse to anybody who wants it, and there's no way they can stop it. And these little boxes will just put to rest all the utility companies. It's just amazing.
Wow. Well, of course.
But what I'm saying is that already you see the emergence of this kind of stuff that's just gonna overtake all the dark force monopolies on energy.
And then I'm looking forward to the day when the grasp and the control over the media is removed, so that people can actually...
Well, that's why you have the Internet. That Internet is starting that process of removing the control that they have over information. I don't know whether you still go to ABC News or CBS. I mean, I don't even bother turning them on.
No.
And I think a lot of people are the same way. They're looking at the alternative sources of information.
Yes.
And slowly these media companies, I mean, look how many newspapers have been put out of business.
Oh, yes.
And you see, this is the kind of cleaning up that's happening all over the world. It's happening.
Wonderful. And of course, you travel all over the world, so you're able to see the changes and the progress that is being made.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I'm so surprised. Last month I was in Cyprus. Cyprus is a little island in the eastern Mediterranean, right across from Lebanon, and that's a typical case of the dark force, plan to keep the islands divided. It's divided between the Turks and the Greeks, and I was so surprised to see there actually guns pointing at each other. There's a line that goes right across the island. And we had a lecture there, and we weren't really sure what we were going to get in terms of audience, and so we sort of geared it more to the economic crisis. But what showed up was a room full of light workers.
Oh, wonderful!
And I said, "My God, on this little island, we could fill this room up with light bearers."
Wow.
They just must be all over the place. And that's the great hope. I think that's the great hope of what we're going into. That these light bearers will suddenly be ignited somehow to wake up. And many of them were so aware of what was going on, but they were a little bit confused as to what to do and where they belonged in the whole divine plan and what they had to do with their lives, which is, I think, a very common situation among light bearers. Like, they know they got to do something,
right,
but they're not really sure what to do.
Right. Is part of the purpose of being here to hold the vibration of the light workers so that those higher energies can be channeled through us?
Well, they'll be channeled, throughout the world. It's just that it's more like the light bearers have to tap into these higher energies to wake up, and that waking up process should tap them into their soul plan, and that's when it becomes clear what each and every one of them has to do.
Right. Well, that's very uplifting news.
And that plan is walking around right in your head all the time, and all you have to do is tap into it, and the way to do that is through deep meditation.
So what can, for instance, the listeners what can they think about doing for the upcoming times? In other words, there's no way to prepare for a global financial collapse other than, some basic things, some food and water. But what would you suggest we produce on the spiritual levels? And then is there something that we can do on the physical levels that will reassure us? Sure.
On the practical level, I've been advocating getting as much of the precious metals as possible. Get silver and gold, because there's going to be a transition period once this whole system breaks down, where you're going to need that to be able to survive. And that's very, it's very easy. Just go out and get some silver eagles or silver maples, and keep them, because you're going to need them to negotiate. But on the spiritual level, the main thing that everyone needs to do is to gain control of their own minds. Now, if they don't do that, then they will fall prey to panic and the turmoil. And I'm sure people who are listening to this program are probably 99% of them are light workers.
Yes.
And what they have to do, and their whole role in this turmoil is to stand out as light bearers. Like a lighthouse in the middle of turmoil. They're supposed to be the ones that bring order in their communities to the turmoil that's around them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are several ways of gaining control over your mind, and those are exercises that have to do with meditation, because that's the way you gain control of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 4 steps. I don't know whether you want me to go through all 4 steps right now. We may not have time for that.
Well, we might have to schedule another show.
But the main thing is, if you go to our website, sanctusgermanus.net, we have a method of, it's called the in-breath meditation method, which is probably a bit advanced. But let me go through it very quickly.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. The first step of this meditation program would be to, sit down in a nice, comfortable chair. Now, don't fall asleep, because this is not a sleeping exercise. It is an active mental exercise. Close your eyes, calm yourself down, and just keep quiet and silent for a few minutes, and then you're going to see your mind start darting about. And then you're going to see all kinds of stuff, ideas and pictures pass through your mind. This is your active mind. And what you do is just sit there and watch what goes by, just like you're sitting on the side of a street and watching everything pass by. And this is the first step now. And all you're doing is watching, and you're kind of analyzing what is your mind up to. Trying to get an idea. What is it thinking? What are its preoccupations? And just kind of note them down. Do this for about 10 minutes, if you can hold it that long, and over a period of maybe 2 weeks. And then you'll find that toward the end of the second week, you'll find that there's less stuff, less crap going through your mind. And then you're on the road to the next step. Step 2 is to meditate on an object. And this is an old method. And so you just concentrate on that, try to concentrate on that object. Keep your concentration. It could be a book, it could be a vase, it could be a flower, it could be anything. But you just choose the object, concentrate on it, and see if you can hold that concentration for 10 minutes. And it's not easy, because your mind will start wandering, but just keep coming back and holding it. And then the third meditation that we recommend is called the 7-breath meditation, which you take 7 inhalations and 7 exhalations, in and out, and out, and see whether you can do 7 without your mind wandering. It is probably, when you start, your mind will start wandering maybe on the second breath already. And no cheating. You got to go back to the first again.
Oh, okay. You have to go back.
You got to go back to the first and do all 7 without your mind wandering. And that'll take a while before you can achieve that. Maybe a couple weeks to a month.
Yes.
But if you can get to that point where you can do 7 breaths in and out and control your mind so that nothing enters it during that short period of time, then you're on the road to mind control, to controlling your own mind. And the last step, the 4th step, I would just recommend going to our website and looking at the in-breath meditation method, which is more difficult, and it takes longer, but once you've conquered it, you've got everything you'll see that your whole life straightens out. You'll be in touch with your plan, you'll have the resources around you. All this stuff will just start coming into your life, because what it is, it's the whole soul plan that has mustered up all the resources that goes along with the plan. Otherwise, how can you implement something without resources? So everything starts to come into your life, everything begins to fall into place, and then you're on your way. And it doesn't matter what kind of turmoil is around you, you're still in control. And that is the